Hey guys, what's going on? Lion Trader here. Going to do another update on Bitcoin. Uh, Sorry for my absence. I've been on vacation in Alaska for the last several weeks and just kind of getting back into the swing of things. Had a great time up there. Got to spend time with my grandfather and my rest of my family. But I'm back now, so back to the charts. Um, wow. I don't think anybody expected this parabolic move here. Um, but I think that it is, I think that we can explain it if we think about it logically. And I don't think it's sustainable at all. So let's go ahead and dig in here. First thing I want to take a look at is the algos pulling from our anchor at a high of 20,000 down to our low of 3137. We've stopped exactly at the 50% retracement or the halfway back mark. Looking for a little bit of market geometry here with Andrew's pitchfork. First anchor would be here, second at the X and pulled down to the Y. We have an exact touch of the median line. One of the trading principles of Andrew's pitchfork is that there will often be a pivot at the median line. And so right now we're at the confluence of that median line and the 50. Is this the top? Are we going to go a little higher? I don't know. I do know that this would be a very high probability point for the top to be in, considering that it's the halfway back mark and we're hitting a major median line there. So if the top is in, there's two possibilities that I see. Typically with parabolic moves like this, you're going to see a very very deep, but also a very drastic, like a very violent correction. That doesn't necessarily mean that that it's going to come down here and break lows, but I would expect a very deep correction. Let's see here. Nope, that's not the tool I need. From here, bull case, I would expect at least a 60% retracement, which would bring us down to here. That would be retesting our support here. As you can see, resistance, resistance, and we finally got through. You know, we also have a lot of high volume trading going on in this range. This is very, this range here and even over here, the price was accepted in this area. So bull case, I would expect a retracement to this area, and then we would consolidate. And at that point, NVT should bottom out, and then we would have a long period of consolidation. And my explanation for what this massive move was is that it was a short squeeze. You know, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. You know, when you have price skyrocketing with no fundamental news behind it to push it that high, what else is it? Other than, you know, you got a short squeeze or some sort of form manipulation. You know, we saw this first pump here that got us through this resistance area was that one guy making $100 million Bitcoin order across 3 exchanges. That forced the price up, and then it didn't take a whole lot of continuing buying to trigger those stops, and you know, just a domino effect, and just runs the price up. And then once you get up above the 6,000 level, now you have FOMO behind your back, and that's all this is. If you look at one of the most recent podcasts that Willy Woo had done, I believe it was with Tony Vase and I can't remember the other guy's name, but you know, he even admitted that, you know, this isn't sustainable, that these aren't in these are small buys. They're retail investors buying the price up. And well, we saw what happened when retail buyers got out of control and started buying the price up last time. You know, this move here is very much like this move. And what happened? We saw a very, very violent correction right out of that. So, you know, this move isn't driven by fundamentals at all. You know, in fact, we had a bunch of FOMO coming out and the price still went higher. Why is the price going higher if you have all this tether fraud and all these things going out? The moon boys will sit there and say, well, because it's so bullish and people are finally waking up that, there's a limited supply of Bitcoin, yada, yada, yada. No, bullshit. Someone forced a short squeeze. That's the only logical way. Smart investors are not going to sit there and see that, oh, there's a bunch of tether fraud and the entire Bitcoin market cap could be fraudulent and artificially pumped up by tether printing. Yeah, I want to invest all my money in that. No, that's not what they're thinking. You know, they aren't thinking, oh, well, there's a limited supply, even though there's a ton of tether fraud. Let me buy. That's not what it is. This is a majority short squeeze with a little bit of FOMO in there as a little bit of extra rocket fuel, but I think it's running out, to be honest. And just taking a look at NVT, we've broken our support. I don't have it drawn here, but there was a support line that once this one broke as well. But we've broken our support as we did here, and then we went up and retested it by making a new high. We've done the same thing. We've broken support, gone back up, retested it. We're diverging, as you can see here, divergence with the RSI as well, with the volume. This thing's running out of steam. We're not breaking all-time high without a significant correction. If we do, it'd be a fluke. I mean, it's pure fraud, pure tether, just printing money and buying. I should have pulled up the chart, but there is a correlation between the tether market cap and the price of Bitcoin rising here, and they're both just going up in parallel. Now, that doesn't really make sense. Why would people be buying into tether so that they can buy Bitcoin and make the price go up? That really doesn't make sense. But what does make sense is if the tether is just printing more tether so they can buy up the price of Bitcoin, where eventually they're just going to start dumping all that Bitcoin they've been using to buy on the market, and they're going to force the price down. It's just manipulation. That's all this is. This is a huge bull trap, in my opinion. But I've heard some people comparing this move to back in 2010, and so I want to go over that as to why it isn't that. So people are saying that, oh, we're here and price is going to go way up here. No. So the problem with that is that the market cap was significantly smaller back here. And it wouldn't have taken a whole lot of money to be able to force the price up that quickly. The more money, the bigger a market cap gets, the more capital it takes to be able to push it higher. And the longer it takes for that capital to enter the market. Because when you're entering a market, you want to get the best price, right? So you can't just go in with let's say $100 billion and just market buy, right? You're going to slowly accumulate, which will slowly cause the price to rise. Parabolic moves like this are not driven off a fundamental basis. That's why they correct so deeply. And another reason is that when we peaked, we came down and NVT was able to bottom and stay bottomed before it made that spike. We haven't done that. In fact, every time that we get a chance to come down, for example, here, we bottomed briefly, we went straight back up into these overvalued zones and we crashed. And what have we done again? Briefly in the somewhat of a, this is the closest we've been pretty much, apart from this little flash crash here, to a period of accumulation and fair value for Bitcoin. And then we just skyrocketed again, and now we're overvalued. This is saying that this price is not sustainable. If this was the 2010 case, then we should have bottomed out, and this should have stayed bottomed. But it's not. We're right back to where we were. So, I can't be bullish. There's not enough on-chain volume or anything to support it. So, I mean, it is what it is. Let's see if there's anything else I need to go over. So bear case, I've already gone over bull case. I'd be expecting a massive pullback. For the bears, I would expect For the bears, I would still expect us to really minimum, I would think double bottom, but I would be targeting, I think around 2000. We have some support here as volume drops off and we have a little bit of acceptance in this range. So somewhere between 2700 to 2000 or 2100, I think that's a fair, there's fairly strong support there. I don't necessarily think we're going to 1000. I think that's a little bit much, but somewhere within this price territory, I do believe that for the bears, that's where we'd be targeting. So I think that's pretty much it. I've covered everything. If you have any questions, just post a comment and I'll try to get back to you. As always, please like, subscribe, and share my content. Thanks.